Joe, I am so glad that you are joining us today. I am especially grateful because I know that you rushed home from work to make it in time to chat with me for Voices of Stack. So thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, no problem.
All right. So I love your story. I think your story is one that resonates with a lot of folks who are in college right now, working through their 4-year degree and trying to figure out what's next. Can you tell me a little bit about your story?
Yeah, definitely. I graduated from Worcester State in 2019 with a bachelor's in public health. And I went through college and I loved what I was learning, but I really didn't know what I wanted to do with my degree. I was passionate about the courses and everything, but I couldn't find my niche. I didn't really find I wake up and I'm like, oh my God, this is what I want to do the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so I graduated, I was looking for jobs and just really couldn't find anything. And then COVID happened, which really didn't help at all. But then I was just browsing online and I saw like the STAC Education Clinical Trials Management course, and I read about it, did a little bit of research, and I just was like, you know what, I might as well just give it a shot because it's like I've always, enjoyed like my research classes and everything. But I was just like, you know what, I might as well just do it. And as things happen, I got a job right after, and I did the course while I was working, gaining some experience in a lab. And I just saw like clinical trials coordinator position. I was like, I have to give it a shot because
Yeah.
my job was slowing down, and I ended up getting it. And I was very excited. And it's much better than where I was.
That's wonderful. Okay, there's so much to dive into with what you shared. I want to
Mhm.
go back to choosing public health. It probably feels like a long time ago, but
Mhm.
what made you interested in choosing public health?
So I think my favorite part about it is that it's not just like you're not just working with individual patients, you're working with populations. I think it's very interesting because through my coursework, I mean, you find out, there are so many different types of populations of people that they go under the radar, and they have tons of health disparities and health issues that really don't get addressed by anything. And, it kind of slips under the cracks. And I think, for me, I found that very interesting how, public health is a way to kind of analyze data and look at, what target groups are being affected by a certain thing, and how do we fix it? How do we improve the quality of health for not just one individual person, but a whole population?
Okay, I love that. So it's like you really wanted to be able to scale your impact. And so obviously
Hmm.
looking at populations of people really helps you do that. Had you heard about clinical trials and clinical research, in your schooling, or did you even know it was a viable career path for you?
So I mean, obviously, I took like a capstone and like research courses, and I always thought like, oh, research. You work at a school, a high level university, and you kind of just do research for the school. I didn't know that outside of that world was clinical trials where drugs are being tested all the time,
Yeah.
and there's like lots of patient research being done for cancer patients, for all types of medical devices and new drugs. So
Okay, so that's what's so interesting is that um, I think that's what we're hearing from a lot of folks is that on the research side, they didn't realize that this was something that was a possibility or that they could get into. Like people thought, oh, you have to have like your PhD, right, to
mhm,
be a part of this
yeah.
or graduate studies, but you can get in at the ground level as you have. Let's talk about your very quick career progression. So, you may have stumbled a bit after you graduated from Worcester State with your public health degree to look for what's next. And the pandemic certainly did not help matters.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that's really unfortunate that got in the way. But during the program, as you said, you actually got a job. How like talk to me about interviewing with Dana Farber. What experience did you talk about from the program and from your previous job that you think helped you kind of get this opportunity with Dana Farber?
For the clinical trials management course, I think really it was the foundational knowledge that I got from the course is really what interested them in me. I think I was pretty marketable just because of the course, and also, I didn't have much job experience because I was only at my job for about almost a year.
Mhm.
And I think that they were just really impressed with my general knowledge of how a clinical trial is run. Good clinical practice, working with an IRB, different types of trials that can be done. And I think that's what really sold them, because I think they could be confident in putting me in a new role that obviously I'd never had any clinical trials experience before. But I think they were sold on this. Yes, he knows, at least he knows what he's talking about. He knows the basis of what we do here, and he can make an impact that way if we just give him the right skills.
Well said. Well said. Now let's talk about the program. So
Mhm.
it is a time commitment. It's in the evenings. And so, I mean, as you said, you were doing a full-time job in
Mhm.
addition to the program. So we want to kind of let folks know what the reality is. Like, how big was that time commitment to do the program?
I mean, I would say some weeks a lot more than others.
Mhm.
And I think for me, I feel like I've always been good at my time management, planning out what needs to be done what week. And I would definitely say, there were some weeks where I was like, okay, gotta tell my friends, like, I can't see you. I'm sorry. Like, I really need to devote some time to like putting into this class, if I really want to be successful. And then, there were other weeks where I was like, okay, maybe I can go out with my friends for a night, or, kind of just like forget about school for a day and then really get back to it when I really needed to. I think it's just, I found a healthy balance of, managing my time.
Okay, that's good. That's a very honest answer, that it really varied from week to week, but that you
Mhm.
had some pretty good time management skills.
Mhm.
And so you were able to figure out when weeks you had to tell your friends, sorry, this week's a no-go. Joe's not here right now.
Yeah.
Please leave a message. And then other times when you got to hang out with your friends.
Mhm.
That's good to know. What advice? So there are going to be many others who have inflection points, and are really trying to figure out if clinical trials and the clinical trial management is um, the right place for them. What advice would you give those who are navigating an inflection point or thinking about transitioning to clinical trials? What advice would you give them?
Well, I could think about what I told myself. I thought,
Yeah.
when I was looking at the course, I thought, I love helping people. I'm very motivated. I love, like, all through my life, I've always wanted to help people, make an impact in someone's life. And also I just love science, love research and learning new things. And I think for people like interested in or thinking about looking into the class, it's like, I thought it was like the best of both worlds, because you really have that people aspect where, you may not get that in a lab. And you also get like the research aspect, which, you may not get working with people all the time. So I think it was a really healthy blend of, you know, working with people, and also, being, like you said, on, like, you're working on cutting edge trials. You're working with stuff that, I'd never think I would ever be working with, new drugs, new devices and everything. And it's just, if you're really, really interested in, helping people and like working towards like a greater cause, I think clinical trials is where to be.
Okay. That's so great. I've got actually two more questions. I lied. I put my questions out of order. Um, what do you want people to know about you, Joe, that you think may not be evident or apparent?
Oh God.
I know it's a hard one.
It's like some self-reflection.
I
Um,
know.
I mean, I feel like, well, I feel like I was not confident, and after graduating college, about finding a job
Mm.
and where I would end up in life, like work wise and everything. Cause I always felt like, oh, I don't want to work. Like I did, I was just not, I always had jobs through my whole life, but like I never was really passionate about what I was doing. It was just always like, odd end jobs. But once I found clinical trials, like I feel like it's like very motivating to me. And I find myself like waking up like excited to go to work every single day. So that's
That is
probably it.
that is so inspiring, Joe. But the thing is, what you just shared is so honest. There are so many people out there where that's exactly how they feel. They're like, oh no, I have to work for the rest of my life. This
Hmm.
is terrible.
Yeah.
Sorry, my dog. And my dog always makes his voice known in these videos. And I think that the really lucky ones like yourself find stuff that they're passionate about, so they feel exactly as you shared, which is like you wake up and you're like really excited. You're like,
Mm.
I've got a lot of work to do. I've got a big purpose, a big mission. I've got to get to it. And probably in some ways it doesn't feel like work. It certainly probably doesn't feel like the work that you did before. You said like the odd and end jobs,
Yeah.
right? Okay. All right. Last question. This is another self-reflection one. What would you tell your younger self?
Uh, I'd probably tell my freshman year of college self
Mm,
to, just be confident in your decisions. And, if you're going to do something, just go all in. Don't, like, in plain English, don't half-ass anything.
yeah.
Really just give it all you got, because you're going to make an impression on someone, or someone's going to find something about you that they like, and they'll remember that. And, it could end up getting you a job.
Joe, thank you so much for sharing your
Thank you.
experience, for your wisdom, and also for sharing your joy. I know that your joy, I mean, I can feel your joy in talking about clinical
Yeah.
research and clinical
Hmm.
trials. And I think that's wonderful. And I hope that others get to experience the same joy that you're feeling right now about the work that you
Definitely.
do. Thank you so much.
No problem.